俺の財宝か？欲しけりゃくれてやる。探せ！この世の全てをそこに置いてきた。
Yo guys, and welcome to this new video. This chapter is more of a transitional one, with the characters changing their position in the plot in order to suit what Oda wants to show next. And the greatness of these chapters often lays in the fact that they include many new and interesting information about the protagonists of the events, especially those we didn't know too much before. But before seeing what we discover in this chapter, make sure to subscribe and to hit the notification bell to know immediately when I put a new video on YouTube. Alright, with that said, let's get into it. Now, usually I do not focus on those cover pages that are not strictly related to the miniseries, and this is because they generally do not contain any kind of message or relevance for the plot. But in this case I want to make an exception because the way Ener is depicted, in a context where the request only mentioned him chewing a bubblegum, gives me the impression Oda wants to hint what we all expect, the fact he will sooner or later come back in One Piece in the main course of the events. And this is because instead of drawing him on the Earth or on the Moon, where we know he is now, Oda decided to throw him in the air, in a situation where he is clearly moving, probably upwards, but it could be also downwards. And in my opinion, Oda wants kind of to tell us in a hidden way that he will come back soon. And from this perspective I also noticed that the island below him, it's very similar for nature, there are palms and the type of buildings, to the one the Blackbeard pirates decided to be their hideout, the one we saw in chapter 925, and that, by the way, is also the island where the Devi backfight was invented. So I think that this could contain another little hint to a possible interaction between Teach and Ener himself. However, in the end we are still talking about a cover page that was requested by a fan, so I could very well be overthinking all of that, but I thought it was worth to mention these first impressions. Anyway, now we can jump straight into the real content of the chapter. The first thing that impressed me is the way Orochi expressed a true feeling for Komurasaki, a feeling that, differently from what one could imagine from their previous interactions, was a feeling of great affection, which is showed by the fact that this character, so proud, so full of himself, tried practically in any way he could think to avoid Komurasaki to be executed, and he also cried when he saw her covered in blood on the floor. So it's clear that he proved some sort of feeling. Now it's also clear that this feeling was only born from her beauty, her appearance, and this is because she is hiding her true personality of Kotsuki Hiyori in order to hide her true identity of Kotsuki Hiyori. So everyone in the country, included Orochi himself, the Shogun, appreciates her just because of her beauty, her appearance. But even then, the feeling that Orochi demonstrates is stronger than what I expected. I wonder if this could be related to some sort of specific development of the plot related with Komurasaki and Orochi's interaction in the future events, especially in the final Onigashima stage. Another interesting thing I noticed about Orochi, and that could be as relevant or probably even more relevant than the one I mentioned before, is the fact he apparently cannot control all of his heads simultaneously, or at least he cannot control them very well. And this is because in that moment where he was very angry at Komurasaki because of what she did, but also because he couldn't convince her to beg for her life, he attacked other people around him without focusing his attention on the courtesan alone. And if we put this together with the fact that the 8 heads always have different expressions on their faces, the idea that they may have different personalities, different thoughts, and that they are not completely controlled by the central one that seems to be the one with the crown may not be that wrong. An aspect that I appreciated a lot in that particular contest is how Oda maintained and also underlined by showing her multiple times Otoko's characterization. In that situation where she was evidently scared because of the danger she was in, but at the same time she also feared for the life of both Komurasaki and Robin probably, she continued to laugh. And this way in which Oda chose, because each illustration in a chapter is chosen, to underline again, to give importance again to this characterization and the strength of this characterization, could be related to the fact he wants in the future to kind of make it collapse in a very significant moment. And for this reason he is trying to express it as much as possible in as many situations as possible that are not those you are supposed to laugh, in a sense. On the other hand, what instead make me kind of disappointed is how Oda decided to treat the ninjas. Indeed, it looks like he wants to express them, their attitude, their nature, their combat skills even, only through the gag side of his manga, at least for the moment. That side there is one of the characteristic elements of One Piece, but that doesn't include, at least most of the times, the substantiality of this series. The way the Oniwa Bansho don't look assassins at all in the way they react to the ghost, in the way they are overwhelmed and surprised by Robin's abilities. All that stuff, together with also Shinobu's performance of Man Killer, kind of creates an atmosphere around them that is not the one I expected, at least. But thinking carefully, this atmosphere kind of suits also Raizo's appearance and also the way he was introduced as an opposition to the ideal of ninja that Luffy, Law and the others had when they first met him. So it's possible that this is the way Oda wants to present the shinobi with in his series. I hope this will change, I hope they will show more true shinobi techniques, I hope they will show the assassin way of a ninja. But if before I had great expectations in this sense, now I am disillusioned. Another thing that could support this idea is how the names of some of them were introduced in kind of a sneaky way in this chapter, because they were not put, in the usual presentation with the name written below, etc., but they were introduced in their conversation. And even if this could suit the sneaky way ninja act, in my opinion it can be seen as too carefree for their role of assassin, for their role of intelligence masters. By the way, that contest is full of references to the Japanese culture, not only Raijin and Fujin with the catfish, but also Brook himself with his giant skeleton ghost form is a reference to the Japanese folklore. That is also the first time we see Brook capable of making his ghost form so big and also to recreate the entire structure of his body, which is something that we didn't know he could do. Anyway, the most significant part of the chapter, as often happens in One Piece, is the last one, the last half, and it starts with Kyoshiro slaying Komurasaki. Now, in the previous chapter review I said that Kyoshiro for his actions probably was an ally of the Gotsui clan and probably will be an ally of Kinemon's revenge. This chapter in my opinion confirmed that, because even if he apparently killed Kotsuki Hiyori, the way they interact before the act and the fact that after the act Kyoshiro holds the message from Kinemon himself, in my opinion, is a definitive confirm of the role, the side he will be on during this fight, during this war that is coming during the Fire Festival. And Komurasaki, for this reason, is very likely alive. Indeed, in that scene, what I saw between the Yakuza boss and the Dayu was only complete trust in each other. Did Kyoshiro asked her if she was ready, and Komurasaki replied with a smile. Moreover, the moment they had the contact is probably the moment when Komurasaki passed Kyoshiro the paper with Kinemon's message. Of course, this means Komurasaki is still alive, which suits with her role of Kotsuki Hiyori, and even if the blood seems real, which makes us think the wand is also real, it could very well be a trick. It could very well be something done knowing that she could be healed later. Moreover, Kyoshiro's former loyalty to the enemies of Orochi is kind of confirmed by what the witnesses say. Indeed, they say is that his way to express his loyalty, and the fact that they saw their action that way means his loyalty is something not guaranteed, something not completely trust, that needed to be proved somehow. So if everything that I said is true, this gives Kyoshiro and Komurasaki advantages in many different ways. Indeed, not only Kyoshiro confirms his loyalty to Orochi, but Komurasaki can be dead, can be considered dead, and so escape from the capital, escape from Orochi's hands, and altogether all of this allows the situation to be more under control while the Gotsuki clan supporters are planning the attack to Onigashima. And while we are still immersed in that particular contest that opens many different perspectives and possibilities for the plot development, Oda introduced another sneaky, interesting information about something else that opens the transition to Big Mom that is presented in the end of the chapter at the last page. I'm talking about Zeus. Indeed, while Napoleon, that is Big Mom's sword hat, showed her same signs of amnesia, Zeus remembers everything about himself, about Nami, about the clouds he likes to eat. So Zeus was not affected at all. And this supports my idea that what caused Big Mom's amnesia was something that she and also Napoleon experienced after they were thrown off their ship. But since Napoleon is a hat, it's difficult to think that a trauma of any type caused that particular amnesia for what concerns him. And since his amnesia is not related at all with Big Mom's one, because otherwise also Zeus would have suffered it, this means that it's something related to the water, the waterfall, the entrance to the country that caused the loss of Big Mom's memories. So, as I expressed in the review of chapter 931, where Linlin's amnesia was first presented, this could be associated with Wano's importance for the Void Century that we have to remember all the world forgot about, and to the isolationist politics of the same country. But even if all of that could be very interesting for the One Piece mysteries, for now we have no information that supports this idea. We can only focus on Linlin to try to understand the true nature of her lost memories. And in this sense, I want to underline the fact Prometheus wasn't shown when she was entering the country, and this could very well mean that he didn't accompany her. So, very likely, as happened for Zeus, Prometheus preserved his memories, and it will be interesting to see how this could influence Big Mom's future, if Prometheus will actually be the one to recover her memories, or if he would take this opportunity, one could say, to separate from Big Mom herself. So this could have great implications. To conclude, focusing on the Yonko herself, interesting is how while she maintained her hunger and her particular laugh, she became a very humble person. And while showing other signs of her previous personality like appreciation for strange creatures, because she seems to like Chopper a lot, she became more like an old woman who likes to eat. So, as expected, she became a completely different person, which suits completely with the substantiality about this particular plot twist which I discussed in the video specifically about Big Mom's Amnesia. I'll put the link in the description below. However, for what concerns instead the plot itself, the way Oda is planning to use this particular condition of Big Mom is completely unexpected. Indeed, for some reason, it looks like she will be the one to help Luffy escape from Udon's prison. Of course, she is strong enough to do that easily, but on the other hand, we have also to remember that she isn't aware of her strength yet. And on top of that, also we have to consider that Chopper said her she would find food in that particular place, but this is not true, or at least she won't find that porridge she wants. And we all know what happens when Big Mom doesn't find what she wants to eat. So a tantrum is very likely, especially because that particular element of her person probably survived the amnesia, not being related to her particular experiences, but being something that is part of her body in a sense. But even if not, the impression is still that she will cause destruction, wide destruction all over the place. This would give the opportunity to Kid, to Caribou, and also to the mysterious prisoner to finally escape, which will create many new different perspectives for the plot. Will introduce finally the mysterious prisoner, will allow Kid to have a main role, will also allow Caribou to show what is that Oda wants from him. And all of that will clearly spread the information Big Mom entered the country, and even if Wano's inhabitants won't know what this means, Kaido and also the remains of her crew that may already be inside the country themselves will know about that. So overall, the sensation is that Oda is going towards a chaotic end of the arc that is as unpredictable as one expect a One Piece arc to be. And another element that could at the same time fit this chaos and become an obstacle for the Kotsuki clan's revenge is the fact Orochi will probably ask himself about a possible connection between the intruders and the 9 Red Scabbards, considering how he is aware of the prophecy and how he fears the prophecy. So, to conclude, as I said at the beginning, this is indeed a transitional chapter, but the fact it opens so many new possibilities thanks to the new information it provides makes this transition completely unpredictable, in the sense that this is of course a way of repositioning everyone for what Oda wants to do next, but the way this is done doesn't allow us to understand what is that Oda wants to do next. This makes it probably the best example possible of a situation where we can only know where the plot is going or try to understand where it's going by reading the next chapter. And until then, that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, don't forget to leave a like and make sure to subscribe the channel. See you next time then, Ciao!